Hey everyone, welcome to the GRE How-To series where we make studying for the GRE a lot more tolerable. Today we're going to be talking about what the GRE is really testing, and you don't want to miss this because I'm going to break it down and help you understand the underlying things the test makers are testing, and honestly it's going to make this process make a lot more sense for grad school. Hey everyone, welcome back, and I just want to celebrate the 800 subscribers who have come here, joined the community, and have really made this such an enriching experience. Thank you so much for subscribing, and if you are one of the few who have not just yet, please do click subscribe down there. This is the community where we're striving for really big goals, and this is also a community of support. So I am so excited to be able to engage with you, learn with you as we are trying to really conquer this test so that we can go off and conquer a lot of the issues that we are going to grad school to face. For me, I'm passionate about making work better, and I want to actually create research that makes an impact in how organizations function, how we grow organizational culture to actually bring out the best in other people. A lot of you who are just joining me now are interested in social work. I know because you guys have had such a really great response to my first episode of Post Grad, where I interviewed Marvin, one of the co-founders of Melanated Social Work. If you haven't seen that, even if you're not interested in social work, click up here because you're going to learn how someone has really crafted his own path to build the life that he wants in order to make a huge impact on the world. When I really think about grad school, people really don't go to grad school just to, collect another degree and be done with it. Honestly, when I do an informal survey of the kind of work that people who go to grad school do, they pretty much all have to do with making the world a better place. Even business school students are really trying to learn what they need to in order to make impact through business. People who are going to get their masters of social work are making impacts through making people better and helping them find their best selves. So I think that even though we're not all trying to get the same degree, we're all like-minded, and it's a really cool community to start building and fostering. And as always, I say this often, but I sincerely mean it, I really appreciate just having the honor of making a very, very teeny contribution to your success. Without further ado, let's talk about why we're actually here, right? We want to know what the test makers, the ETS people on high, are actually testing when they are making the GRE. And a little bit of context of what drives this video is I was actually recently at a management conference where we were discussing all the latest research in the management field. I'm particularly interested in organizational behavior. As I was watching the presentations and really trying to kind of digest what the presenters were saying and learning about their process, I started to notice some patterns. For me, I come from the corporate space. I have a different frame of reference, so I was really interested in learning about this world that I want to embark on and kind of learning how to talk the talk and walk the walk. So I was paying attention to what the presenters were saying, what the audience was, asking, things like that, so I can start to kind of internalize what this life is like, and for me to kind of understand a little bit more, because I haven't been born and raised in the academic context. So in one presentation, it kind of hit me. The presenter was talking about different levels of misunderstanding, and oftentimes when we talk about something, we usually lump things in. We overgeneralize a lot when it comes to just everyday conversation. But in the academic context, it doesn't really make sense for you to do that because you have to be able to test and measure things. And if you measure things in aggregate, then you're not really digging down into the nuances. So when the presenter was talking about misunderstanding. She started talking about misunderstanding if, you don't know the right language. If I'm speaking Portuguese and someone else is speaking English and we're trying to communicate to each other and we don't have a frame of reference, I mean, that is a source of misunderstanding. There's also a whole idea of maybe you're speaking the same language. Maybe this is actually kind of funny. Some school children were asked to bring a fish to observe for class. A lot of the kids brought like a goldfish, and then there was this one kid who brought basically a sea bass, a dead fish to like watch and observe. All of the children brought fishes, but there was a different kind of understanding of what the fish was for this one child. So that was an element of misunderstanding. And as she started to kind of break down the different kinds of misunderstanding, I don't know why, but there was just like this light bulb that kind of went off. And it's just like, oh my gosh, we're actually working on some pretty complex problems on the GRE, and we have to break it down. We can't just attack these kinds of problems in aggregate. We have to really understand what piece needs to be solved first, and then you need to do the other piece, and then you build your way up to the answer. I literally wrote down in my piece of paper, the GRE is actually useful in this context. So that started to kind of get me thinking about other ways that the GRE is actually not only testing, but also preparing us for what may be useful for us in our respective fields in graduate education. So the second thing that GRE is actually testing is our ability to stay focused. This is testing us not only mentally, but also physically and psychologically in a sense. And so it's going to be really important for us to actually stay focused on the task at hand, and also managing our energy so that we can stay physically up to the task, and managing our expectations so that we can stay psychologically up to the task. What does that mean? Well, it means, let's talk about physically. You know what? It's going to be important that we fuel ourselves so that we can keep our energy up over the course of these 4 hours. Because if we don't, those distractions, hunger pains, or being cold, those are all things that can actually affect our performance. So we want to make sure that we're guarding against that. When it comes to the psychological game, it's so important for us to do what we're doing right now and understanding the design of this test so that we are equipping ourselves and knowing what to expect. This is a kind of coordinated battle in a sense. So if we understand our competitor and understand what the competitor is trying to do, then it's going to be easier for us to guard against that and protect ourselves and actually go on the offense because we know what to expect. Now, that actually translates into graduate study. You don't go to graduate school for a vacation. I don't recommend it. If you go to business school, there are some vacations built into that. It's a difficult process, even business school, because you are really immersing yourself into an environment where there's constant stimulation, there's constant demands on your energy, and constant intellectual stimulation that's going to not only challenge you and make you grow, but also kind of question and make you question, if you're even supposed to be there. And you know what? You are supposed to be there. When you get in, you are supposed to be there, but you also need to make sure that you are guarding yourself and understanding what the situation is so that you can fend against those probably inevitable feelings of doubt. So I want you to practice on your GRE. I want you to practice making sure that you're guarding your energy. Practice making sure that you're psychologically strong to handle the curveballs that come through to you. Because once we master this in the GRE, we're going to have to keep on building those strengths when it comes to graduate study. The third thing that the GRE is testing that really does translate into our graduate field of study is our ability to answer the right question. And this is actually something that's been an aha moment for me. As I'm looking at my performance on my practice tests and looking at the questions that I got wrong, I'm starting to notice that I got the right answer to the wrong question, which makes it wrong. It's wrong, wrong, wrong. And I gotta hand it to the test makers. I mean, it's a pretty elegant design that they're working with right now. And yes, I know I'm giving props to the test makers, and you know what? Everyone's just doing their jobs. They're not evil overlords. They're just, you know, trying to make money. Whatever. The fact of the matter is, they're not just putting random numbers in the mix in those answer choices for multiple choice. They're actually thinking about how people will answer this question, and there are definitely trap answers in answer choices to capitalize on the people who are answering the wrong question. That's important for us to realize because it gives us pause. If we're solving something in 10 seconds, hey, you might want to spare, 10 more seconds to just double check to make sure that you're answering the right question. Chances are one of the answers are a trap answer to capitalize on the people who are answering the wrong question. It would be actually kind of interesting to see if there's research on the performance of the people who are answering wrong questions, into the graduate context. I digress, because we all know that there's also research that doing well on these tests does not necessarily translate into doing well in the graduate school, but that doesn't matter, and it hasn't stopped a lot of programs from making this the barrier to entry. So we'll work with it. The whole reason why I'm going through this is because I do think that the more we understand the purpose of this test and the more that we can actually extract transferable skills out of this test, the better we're actually going to perform, because we don't see it as solely a barrier to entry. We see it as an exercise that's going to help make us stronger for what we really want to do, and that is to make the world a better place through our graduate degree. Now, the fourth thing that the GRE is testing is our ability to discern what's important. And you see this explicitly in reading comprehension. When it comes to those really long blocks of text with a whole bunch of technical jargon that's maybe kind of boring or intimidating, those are all designed there for a purpose. The fact of the matter is, the important points are buried in those filler run-on sentences and those really scary words. And it's really important for us to understand, hey, that's a scary word that I've never seen in my entire life, but that's there to intimidate me. What else is it there for? It's not necessarily the most important to know what that technical word is, but it is important for us to know why that technical word is there. What is it doing? Is it actually explaining the main concept? So the more that we realize that certain things are there to trip us up, the better equipped we are to stop, take a deep breath, and try to understand why that word is there, and then keep it moving. Keep it moving, because we need to figure out what the point of this entire passage is. So, when I think about the graduate school context, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. There's going to be a whole bunch of reading. There's going to be a whole bunch of activities. There's a whole bunch of stuff that is going to be demanding our attention. And we're going to have to also discern what's important. We're going to have to make choices to either go on a path or choose not to. So it's going to be really important for us to actually practice that when we're reading long passages, right? Why are we here? What's the purpose of this passage? And choosing the right path or the answer that's going to help us be successful on the 3 to 5 questions that are going to be associated with this complicated reading comprehension text. And lastly, what I've noticed at the GRE is ultimately testing our ability to stay organized. And that is why I'm really excited that I have the system that I've built for myself in order to kind of see what I'm missing and also get in the practice of writing things in an orderly fashion so it's not all over the place. Like when I look at this, it's like the whole reason why I use graph paper is so that I can start kind of giving myself a sense of muscle memory so that I can understand how to structure the questions that I'm working on so that I can do all of the things I just mentioned, answering the right question, discerning what's important, and really trying to get to the point where I'm using my organization in a way that's going to help me. And because I know the alternative does really hurt me. I start getting confused, and then I don't know what I'm doing, and then I'm wasting time, and time is money when it comes to a test. So if this video was helpful for you, give me a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. I'm especially thankful for the people who made it to this point in the video, because that means that you are really interested in making yourself a better competitor for this test, and you're also interested in spending that time training with me. So I do not take that for granted. Thank you so much. I want to make sure that I thank you, because I mean, I can see it in the analytics. You know, some of you, well, not you, because you're right here. But some people are like, all right, cool, thanks for the information, bye. So thanks, I really appreciate it. And until next time, you know, stay brilliant. Oh yeah, and if you're interested in the No Excuses Study Pack, beautiful, keep going, brilliant AF, then let me know in the comments below or click the link below to get yours. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time.